my name is Muhaddesa Rajairat and welcome to my channel. This is the first episode of the Writing Pack playlist. So if this is your first time here, please subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for next episodes. Actually, since I believe the writing skill is endless, I plan to update this playlist once in a while with new experiences and new things I learned. So let's dive in. These are the subjects we're going to talk about in this playlist. All of these materials are taken from the Writing in the Science course by Christine Sainani, which is available in Coursera website and in combination with my personal experiences. In this very first episode, let's talk about the writing process itself, which consists of 3 steps: pre-writing, writing the first draft, and revision. As you can see here, the most important and time-consuming step is the pre-writing step. It's suggested to devote 70% of your time on this step. Then, writing the first draft must be done quickly, in 10% of your time. And finally, 20% of the estimated time should be spent on revision step. Note that you should do these steps separately and successively, unless you'll end up with an unorganized, messy, inefficient context. Generally, the writing process is like, first we gather the data and organize it logically, and then we just write, focusing on organization of the ideas and the flow of our text. And at the end, we'll do some revision to make it more fluent and elegant. Okay, let's start with the first step, pre-writing. In this step, you should collect, synthesize, and organize the data or information that you're going to use in your paper. Also, think about the take-home messages or the most important conclusion or findings of your paper. For instance, imagine we're going to investigate the relationship between sugar consumed and aging of the skin. Or as another example, the relationship between the geometry of an implant and the longevity of that, or osseointegration. What will be your main finding? How will people remind it? What's your take-home messages? You got me. Moreover, in this step, you should develop an outline or a roadmap for your work, where you're gonna start and where to end up in. You'll start with the fact A, combine it with B, and result in C, and combine it with other results to get D. Think about the organization that you'll use to make the text flow. A very friendly advice is to work out on your idea away from your computer, like when you're exercising or driving alone or waiting in line. This way, you'll notice how much creativity comes in. So think about your ideas and organizing them away from your computer with more creativity. Therefore, in the first step, get organized first. Don't try to write and gather information simultaneously. Gather and organize information before writing the first draft. Also, we should have developed an outline for our work. What will be our main results and take-home messages? How will we group the ideas? For example, I will write 1 paragraph for idea A and 2 for B, etc. Think about all of them earlier to write a consistent text with a logical flow. And as I mentioned earlier, brainstorm in a very normal daily activity like exercising, cooking, or driving. And a very important one, compositional organization. Or to say it in other words, ideas should be grouped. If you have some same or similar ideas, put them in 1 paragraph, or at least keep them close together in few paragraphs. Don't bait and switch your reader too many times. I mean, when discussing a controversy, follow this rule. Put all of the arguments in 1 place, and then put all of the counter arguments all in 1 place, and at the end, bring the rebuttals all in the same place. Okay, after having the outline for the work on your mind, start to write the first draft. My first and most important advice to you is don't be a perfectionist. The goal of the first draft is to get the ideas down in paper, in complete sentences and in order. So focus on logical organization more than sentence-level details or grammar mistakes. Think about ideas, take-home messages, and write them. Actually writing the first draft is the hardest step for most people. You can minimize the pain by writing it quickly and efficiently. Now, after you wrote everything that you have been thinking in pre-writing step, we get to revision step. You can try reading your work out loud, because when you hear your text, you can find out your misconsistency and get a better intuition of all of your writing. Then do a verb check. Underline the main verb in each sentence and pay attention to lackluster verbs like there are many, or passive verbs, the reaction was observed by, or buried verbs. Just change them with better alternatives, or in some cases rewrite the whole sentence with a better construction. Also, don't be afraid to cut. Watch carefully for deadweight words and phrases, like it should be emphasized that. Well, you can easily just delete that to make your sentences less wordy. Or empty words and phrases like basic tenets of or important. You can just get rid of them. And long words or phrases that could be short, like muscular and cardiorespiratory performance, which can easily be replaced by fitness. Unnecessary jargon and acronyms. Well, as you know, you shouldn't use jargon and acronyms in your paper, so just delete them as much as you can. Repetitive words or phrases. You might want to use different words or different vocabularies, or maybe sometimes paraphrase your whole sentence. And finally, adverbs, like very, really, quiet, basically. You shouldn't use them too much. Next, do an organizational review. In Microsoft Word, you can use comments, or if you have written on paper, in the margins of your paper, tag each paragraph with a phrase or sentence that sums up the main point. Then move paragraphs around to improve logical flow and bring similar ideas together. Get outside feedback. You can ask a friend or a family member, or generally a person without technical background, to read your paper. They should easily grasp the main findings, take-home messages, significance of your work. Also, ask them about how hard to read is your paper. And finally, get editing help. You can ask an editor to help you with the sentence layer and your writing, or you may use some AI grammar checker applications. After finishing your first draft, you revise it and edit it, and again revise and edit. And you'll do it in several times to get the final draft. Here is the checklist for your final draft. Check for consistency. I mean, different parts of your paper shouldn't be in conflict with each other. Then check for numerical consistency. The values that you have mentioned in text should be in line or the same with the values in the tables or figures. For example, if you have said A to B has decreased for 20%, for example, this decrease should be seen in tables and figures too. Also, check for the references to see if the information that you're citing really exists in that reference. So always cite and go to primary sources, and assume that other authors have made errors in citing sources, because this happens a lot, that the first author says something and the second author writes their interpretation of that idea. Third author doesn't go to the primary source and interprets the second author's interpretation. And this process may lead into misinterpretation and the whole different idea from the first author. So always check for references, especially when using statistics and numbers. Thank you for being with me so far in the video. If this video was beneficial for you, don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button, and stay tuned for the next episode. If you have any question or suggestion, feel free and leave a comment below. Bye until the next video.